This is Bundy, 2.5 hours northeast of Adelaide, home to hundreds of sheep but no people. It could soon be transformed into an AI infrastructure hub.
It'll be one of the biggest in the Asia-Pacific region ever built. These companies, these new AI companies, are so hungry for additional data centre capacity. They're just going to keep investing and it's going to grow and grow.
From the country to the city, AI data centre developments are accelerating. Industry figures show there are already 162 operating across the nation.
So every time you do a query on ChatGPT, a bunch of computer chips and machines whir away somewhere using a bit of energy to make all the calculations and to give you the answer. And that's what goes on in a data centre.
But critics argue the rollout is happening too quickly and without enough safeguards.
We can't afford to be playing catch-up the whole time, and that's why I think we need a moratorium on the construction of these hyperscale data centres, the really big ones that the big companies want to put here.
All of these proposals have to be delivered in the national interest and in a way that generates real benefit for local communities.
The $10 billion South Australian data centre proposed by tech company Iron promises 500 jobs during construction and 200 ongoing roles.
If we can get young ones here, it's going to be key.
Goyder Council Mayor Bill Gebhardt says the data centre is the shot in the arm his region needs.
We need some form of growth to keep us going, and we need some young ones to be coming continually to the centres. Our average age is 57, I've noticed. The school's battling at the moment. Everything's battling with numbers, and the senior school is really finding it tough. So if we can get numbers in the community to keep these things open, it's going to be a game changer for us.
The town of Burra relies on tourism, but it's seasonal.
What do you think of the data centre proposal?
Having some consistent business in town will be really beneficial for us.
While the project will help put food on the table for regional workers, the technology is itself a hungry beast. The data centre will need up to 800 megawatts of electricity, the equivalent of powering around 800,000 Australian homes.
It's sitting on the fence at the moment because there's a lot of questions to be answered.
Federal Minister Tim Ayres is confident the national electricity grid will cope with the energy-hungry AI boom and prices won't rise.
Currently, data centres use about 2% of Australia's electricity. As we head past 2030, about 12% of Australia's electricity is the forecast demand. That is an enormous opportunity to use that investment to drive additional electricity generation, new transmission, and to use these centres to support demand management in the grid.
The other issue is water.
Well, these things generate masses of heat, so we have to have some sort of cooling system. Now, the cheaper version of that is an evaporative cooling system, which is based on a big industrial air conditioners that basically rely on evaporation to get that cooling effect, but they'll use lots of water.
With below average rainfall expected in parts of the Murray-Darling Basin, irrigators in South Australia's Riverland are facing a 20% cut to their annual allocation. Citrus supplier and juice maker Jeff Nispel says his business could have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy water to make up the shortfall.
In that market situation where every grower is out mad scrambling to try and buy water, water will cost at least $1,000. In addition to power costing us more to pump, fertiliser costing us more to pump, wages have gone up, everything's going up.
Jeff says he's not opposed to data centres, but wants to know how much Murray River water the proposed Bundy Centre will use.
The fact that they built it right next to a pipeline, the Morgan Whaler pipeline, makes you a bit nervous about, is this going to consume megalitre after megalitre of water? And given that we're the driest state and the driest continent on Earth, that is a worry.
Do you know exactly how much water the company will use?
No. I've got no idea, and we've tried to find that out.
Iron declined 730's request for an interview, but in a statement said the Bundy data centre would not consume water on an ongoing basis and would use a closed system that circulates coolant in a sealed loop.
I'll call Senator Hanson-Young.
Thank you. I move the motion.
Last month in the Senate, the Greens established an inquiry into AI data centres. They say there needs to be more transparency and regulation.
These companies are coming to Australia because they see that we are cheap pickings. And that's because the governments, state and federal, are just rolling over. And at the end of the day, it'll be the community that carries the burden.
The federal government has set out a list of expectations tech companies should follow, including around energy and sustainable water usage, but they're voluntary.
I think the idea of putting down some principles makes sense, but this has got to be legally binding. And this can't just be, hoping that the AI companies do this of their goodwill.
So the question isn't whether data centres will be built. The question is on whose terms.
Ultimately, these developments are approved by state governments, and the federal minister expects them to follow his government's expectations.
How can we be sure Australia's water resources will tolerate this AI infrastructure growth?
Well, the data centre expectations make it really clear that water security plans and effective water security management is fundamental to the Commonwealth Government's support for these projects.
Back in Bundy, Iron has yet to submit a development application, but hopes to start operations in South Australia in 2028. The industry says nationally there are 90 data centre projects in the pipeline.
I'm very worried that we are sleepwalking into a catastrophe because governments are too bamboozled and being starry-eyed and naive about this.
Standing still means going backwards in technological terms, Australia becoming less competitive, less resilient and less secure.